You ever see a game in your feed and think, "Mwah, this is not for me"? That was me with Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I saw it and I saw that it was turn-based and I instantly dismissed it. Yes, it looked cool, sure, but I thought, no, this is just not my thing. But then I keep seeing it. I hear the music. Beautiful. I see the visuals. Stunning. And the combat, it looked decent enough. So I gave it a try. And damn am I glad that I did that. Because now, after finishing the game in about 40 hours, I can honestly say that this game might be in my top 5 story-driven games of all time. Yes, this is one of the best story-driven games I've played in the last 5 years, and I've really been thinking about why. Why was this game so much fun for me while others, like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I also enjoyed, just didn't hold me on? I think that's a fair question to ask myself, because, like I said, I really enjoyed Assassin's Creed Shadows, but somehow I just stopped playing. But it's a whole different ballgame with Expedition 33, because this game I just can't get enough of. So in my first video about Expedition 33, I already said that I immediately fell in love. The story, the art, the music, it all works together. And the combat? Honestly, I'm shocked as how good it actually is. As someone who normally skips turn-based games, this one changed everything. It's the perfect entry point for players like me who love a good narrative but never quite clicked with this game genre. Alright, let's start with the story. I have to say, I will be explaining some things, so there might be some spoilers, so if you want to skip ahead, then check the description and see the timestamps. I will put behind the timestamp if it's a spoiler, yes or no. Okay, the story. Yes, I loved it, but it did make me feel a certain way when I found out a lot of the story and characters were painted and not real. This made me feel sad or something. I just didn't want it to be true. But after it sank in, I noticed something. That is the fact that it did something to me. Like the game let me feel a certain type of way, which I think is a compliment. The same goes at the end of Act 1. Such a beautiful and emotional moment. But the whole game after Act 1, I just wished Gustav would come back somehow. I didn't want to play with Verzo. I wanted to play with Gustav. But at the end, actually, my favorite character with the most damage was Verzo. And also his story, both heartbreaking and beautiful. And the little kid you run into multiple times, that payoff was just whoa. This game knows how to build up emotional impact. So like I said, the fact that the game can make you feel a certain type of way, that says everything. That's powerful. So to wrap that all up, I will give the story a 9 out of 10. Okay, now let's get into the gameplay. Overall, the gameplay is just very smooth. There are only 2 things that I don't like about it. I don't like the running, as you see here. I think it looks a little bit silly. And what I also don't like is some of the map design. This is the same as in Black Myth Wukong. You sometimes see areas that look explorable, but you just can't reach them. And if you try, you might even get stuck. I know these are small things, but that's the only 2 things that I don't like about the gameplay and the map design itself. As for walking through all these different kind of worlds, it's just breathtaking. And also the interactions inside those worlds, like for example at the flags. I don't really think that they could have done something different there. I think it's good. Maybe they should have made a map that you can see inside the worlds where you are, like pinpoints, a small map just to see where the flags are that you've already been, because sometimes the maps and the worlds are pretty amazing and large and you just don't know if you have been already at this spot. So I've had it a couple of times that I just thought, didn't I just pass this tree here on the side? But that being said, let's get over to the breakdown of the combat. Well, as I said before, it's awesome. Especially on expeditioner mode, it's already pretty brutal. You need to be on your A game to parry, dodge, jump, counter every attack from the enemy. Because if you don't and you get hit, that's probably the end of you. And also it doesn't really feel like turn-based gaming. Because like I said, you have to do those parries, you have to do those dodging, you have to do the jumping, the countering. It feels very much more interactive than a normal turn-based game. I think this is a perfect game to be a bridge between gamers that normally don't really take a look at this kind of games. As for the missions and the storyline, it was all pretty straightforward. The only thing that bothered me was the fact that at the last part it was not really clear what I needed to do. Did I need to go back to Lumiere, or did I first have to become stronger to do the final boss? That was just unclear for me, because I began the final fight and I was thinking, is this really the final fight? Or is there maybe another act, act 3, act 4? That was the question that I kept with me even until the end. So that's maybe one part that could be a little bit more clear in my opinion. But that's about it. Because the rest of the game was just so good that it didn't really bother me that much. As a huge fan of story-based games, this one is definitely going to be in my top 5. So, my final thought. If I had to give this game a grade, it would be a solid 9. I think it still would not be for everyone, but I do like the story and I like story-driven games. So if you like story-driven games as much as me, this one is an absolute must to put on your list. I hope you enjoyed my final review of Expedition 33. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the game or if you're going to try it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more build guides or game reviews like this, hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I'd like to thank you all for watching again and see you all in the next one.